Well, the species, I'll answer the second question first. The species that are of most interest to me are the babbler family in Nepal. Nepal has a exceptionally large number of babbler species from at all altitudes, and that find that a very fascinating world. And what makes the bird life here so special? Well, I think Nepal is highly diverse indigenous birds and other wildlife as well. And one reason for that is the large altitudinal range of the country, from almost sea level to the highest mountain in the world, So that is the altitudinal range. And the other main reason is Nepal's location in the world, because it lies in an area of overlap in what zoologists call the oriental realm of species and the Palearctic oriental realm to the south and the east, and the Palearctic to the north. And so you've got species, from both. So an example of oriental species will be the barbets, for instance. The barbets are at Tropins, Albert Root. And hornbills, that's another oriental group of species. And the Palearctic species will be things like woodpeckers, larks, crickets, and so Nepal has both of these, both of these groups emerge. So those are the two main reasons why Nepal is so rich. And the other thing is that Nepal is even the center of the Himalayas as well. So to the east it is wet, predominantly wetter, and West Nepal is generalizing, it's generally drier. So Nepal has got that species typical, and the Trans-Himalayas is like a high altitude desert, so it's got those weather, those climate differences as well. So that's what makes Nepal so special. The lowlands. If I'm really honest, I'm not sure that I don't really find the fieldwork here challenging. I mean, I'm 76 now, and at just on a month, I come back a month, gang folly and you feel it every day and not having a day off, and come back and I feel a break. So I can't honestly say that I'm feeling, the truck. There's one thing I find, it's because I come from a cold country, and so one thing I find here, if I have to choose when I do my field work. So if I can't do field work in the lowlands in April, May, it's just too hot for it, and so I choose to come when I can manage, high in the mountains, I'm happy, So, but I suppose that is, it's not actually a challenge, because I choose the time that I can manage. Well, the most critical, I think it has to be, well, two things is habitat loss, and also the degrading of habitats, wetlands becoming polluted. They're still there, but they're polluted. Forests are still there, but they're degraded, they're thinning. habitat. But the big question, isn't it, is over climate change, and much more research needs be done on that. Because some's been done already. We know the glaciers, that the Himalayas are affected more than most parts of the world, and the glaciers are melting faster. We know that, but how is that affecting the wildlife, the birds? We don't really fully understand that. And the other thing we know is that, we noticed the weather this year. Last year, there was no winter rain, almost no winter rain. So it's been, that the land is dry. It's too dry. And obviously, and that's means that I noticed this time when I was surveying the lack of insects. There haven't been any studies on that, but the lack of insects is there. And so there's less food to the birds. So we really need more studies. I would say urgently needed, and they're not happening at the moment. Not really, hardly. There need to be studies on the impact of. We're all seeing, people here, people visiting, we're all seeing the differences in the weather, but there hasn't been the studies on, the actual impact. I mean, we can guess we can guess that birds are being affected by the drying because of the lack of food, but we need the proper studies. Well, there's only one, actually, isn't there? There's only one endemic bird species in Nepal, then the spiny babra. And but it's amazing, really, that so little work has been done on that bird. I only know of there was some work when it was first discovered in the 19th century. Then it wasn't seen again until early 1960s, when it was refound. 1961, it was refound here. In the 50s, it was refound, and there's some things. There's some early papers about its behavior that were published in the 1950s. That's early 60s. But since then, there's one person, probably most people never heard of, as the Pali lady called Rakshia, and she took it on herself to make a study of the Pali babbler for her bachelor's, actually, and she actually found out new information as a bachelor's dissertation. She then went on to do a master's, and so and she. Her work's very good, but more work needs to be done on that bird. But it does seem, however, that it doesn't actually, there isn't any evidence that bird needs protecting. It's what we would classify as least concerned and yet least concerned. But it does even, it's interesting because even in Nepal, it doesn't occur everywhere. It's very rare in the Far East. It's very rare in the Far West. So why is that? Its main concentration is around Pokhara, west central Nepal, in mid-hills and mainly, and of course here in the Kathmandu Valley. So it's mainly central and west central. So why is that? Why is the habitat seems to be there in other places, So we don't really understand that, but unless we really understand it, then it could be, we could. The moment we can see it, we're happy it's there. We can find it, but anyway, that's there. Much more work needs to be done on it. Well, I unfortunately, I don't agree that, well, certainly a smaller, I think the reality is that a smaller number of current bird watchers are coming with. Bird watching was growing nationally, within the Nepalese, which is important, that's good. But there isn't, unfortunately, Nepal used to be a must-see, a must-go-to destination for birds. And they came, and then it's not anymore. So, anyway, that's how it is. But, so that begs the question of, why is that? Which isn't the question you asked me. But anyway, they're not coming in the non-deficit. I think maybe the reason for that is things like people don't like and the only way you fly into Nepal is Kathmandu. A lot of people don't like it, and cuts people off really coming and all. So that's one thing, and the other is there's been a growth in tourism in Bhutan and Eastern Himalayas, which unfortunately has taken away bird watchers from here. But to answer your question on the ecotourism and local communities, well, I think you need to get the local people need to be trained as guides. They need to benefit economically. It's not good enough to say they need conservation awareness. It has they're poor, a lot of them are poor, and just they don't actually need educating about conservation, in my opinion, often, that if they can benefit economically. So training as guides, homestays growing, which is really good. And that people are staying with them because they want to go birding, they want to see red panda, they want, so it's I think promoting homestay and training young people to be guides, and then the families benefit economically, and so they will protect the lake, the forest. Well, the human wildlife conflict is mainly conflicts with mammals, I think, with elephants, with when they curse, rhinos who move out into the land, and also monkeys as well from the forest. So I don't think human wildlife conflict is there are some birds out there, like parrots missed, and some pictures in Baltics are affecting. But I think the major impact seems to be I experienced this time in the east, the very serious conflict that is with elephants, and local communities in Mechi zone. In the Dharan area, where actually Dharan forest, it called for the area where I was doing the study, is a major problem with elephants there. And how could it be resolved? I wish I knew. As I say, it's mainly manners, which is not my area. I certainly saw the the very serious conflict this time, and increasing conflict is something that is really got to be addressed. But I cannot give you. I just don't know. I think it's extremely difficult. Well, I think the habitat loss is affecting the Maxi, and there's two. It's one smaller number, and going north-south, eating over. I mean, they mostly, because Nepal is just a narrow country, the birds can, they can overfly the Himalayas. And the birds of prey, and some casuary, some smaller birds, but most birds of prey, they just aren't able to cross the Himalayas. They have an east-west route, and they sort of skirt the Himalayas. But I don't think that they're affected by habitat change or climate change. I don't really. I think it's just because of the geography. I call it the geography, if you like. Because Nepal is so narrow. I mean, in UK and Europe, many of our birds might migrate to Central and Southern Africa, so you have to cross the Sahara Desert. Well, if you can, and that is a major block for them, because it's so wide. If you compare that to the Himalayas, it's much less. So the birds can't really cross the Sahara without stopping. They have to stop. They have to drink. At least they have to drink. But those encounters are not there in the Himalayas. I think of one, but there are more. Yes, there are examples, and apologies, I can only think of one at the moment. But what I'm thinking of is in the Upper Mai Valley, around Dubate and Henderterm, and where the local communities there are involved. Actually, they're mainly concerned with red panda, but as well as red panda, at the same time, they're also conserving the birds. So that area, I stayed there once. They have homestays, nice homestays. They got guides. What I was saying earlier, and it's successful for and people. I do know a number of Westerners going there specifically for the birds, particularly in the fall, and they can only do that because they're these homestays, because the guides are there. And the guide I had, he was mainly a red panda guide, but he also knew his birds. They do, and he was a local guy. So I think that that's a very very good example. And it's worked. Yes. Invasive species are yes. There's but the minor minute plant, it's called Myconia micrantha, that has the alarming ability to throw really fast, and it covers grasslands and trees and the forest, climbing up trees and the forest layer, and it stops. Well, not just birds, I suppose, mammals as well, small mammals as well, reptiles and most Buddhists, but it stops the birds from the brown-tailed birds can't feed the birds, and when it covers the trees, and the birds can't feed on the on the tracks and branches by insects, and on the grasslands as well. It stops the bird activity. So that is one example, and of course there's the very well-known example of for water hyacinth. That's been a problem for a much longer time. Covering having a maze again, high ability to spread very thin, and covering water bodies, so the oxygen can't get through, so the water becomes deoxygenated, so the freshwater life, fish and other freshwater life dies. The birds can't die, you can't surface speed. So I mean, there's a few birds benefit on the water ice. It's because they learn to walk on it, the chicanas, and we'll love seeing those. So those are two main examples, but there's others as well, and they're increasing in number. That's the thing. We're getting, in Nepal is getting more. There's more coming. It's not, these are the two main ones that caused most of the trouble, but other ones are coming as well, are there as well. I have under the nose of them at the moment, I'm afraid. And so yes, there's concern. Oh well, without doubt, Nepal's protected areas have been highly accepted in the conservation of bird species. I mean, it's really obvious for protected area. You look at the area sign. They've been what one criticism, the only one I can make, is that when it comes to lowland grasses, that they haven't, the pole has a number of several in birds. It's gives support to several lowland grassland species like red-billed bloricans, it's a pair icons that there's a range of Ellis district grassbird, rufous rough frostbird, striated grassbird, this bright capsus stickler, just covered. So all of these birds depend on the quality of the grasslands, but in the protected areas, the management for grasslands is being aimed at mammals, big mammals, and to the detriment of birds. And the main thing that is to the detriment of birds is the forests, the grassland are burned, and it's not that the whole grasslands burn. Instead of burning a section each year, which they do, they don't. They burn us all, and it's the area they burn, and it's when they burn, and they burn it after the birds have started breeding. So that's one criticism I make. The only criticism actually is of the protected areas. And this is aimed at tiger and rhino, and also the prey, the tiger, the deer. Yeah. Anyway, and one reason that actually in the protected areas system is there's no national park in the east. There's Kanchenjunga in the high mountains of Fort, but in the mid hills in the east and the lowlands in the east, there's no protected area, and that's that to my mind, that's been that it Koshi had been, well, there's Koshi Tapu, there's Koshi Tapu Wildlife Reserve, let's say, there's Koshi Tapu Wildlife Reserve, but overfishing there has reduced drastically the water birds there, so it's not as good as it should be, and the river dolphin pools. The problem for Tapu is quite a small area as well, isn't it? Tapu is a small area, and but there's, apart from that, they said if we had a protected area that connected the Mai Valley up in the one that still work, but not teach it, but they don't do that. So that that is it. There's a gap. And I said that Nepal has protected those national parks and wildlife reserve. It's got conservation areas. It's got a much higher percentage than most countries in the world actually that are protected. I think with the young generation, we have to I think we have to use the technology that's available today. This. I mean, we quite should be out next year. We've just done an update of the field guide to birds of the Indians, the whole subcontinent, and so that that's 1,400 species, big book. So we need to have the information as an app that people can look at easily. So information for them on the birds needs to be as an app, and they can use in their phone to know. So our book, we want to have it digitized so they can use it. Also bird sounds, of course. You've got to make that. It isn't good enough just to have a printed field guide. You've got to have that information there for them. And also you need eBird. I think that needs to be promoted more than it is. So they put their records into eBird. I was on a trip with two young American touring. They were really sharp, and they were really into the technology, and they were in the field. They were using their phone, and they cut it all in a pussy. And then when they got a connection, the evening exposure, it was all uploading, and they had the equipment. They had the equipment there to record the birds, and so we have to make it possible that having information available on the phone is cheap, isn't it? So you have to have the information there, and you have to make it possible for them to put the information in, and encourage them, to do it. Because these young people are looking at phones all the time, so you've got to go the way they're going, and make it make it easy and attractive, for them that want to do it. But it's more than that. You have to encourage it. It's not just recording, is it? You need to inspire them to conserve the birds, to conserve the habitat. They do need inspiration as well. Charismatic input. In UK we have David Attenborough. He's gonna die soon. And the whole of the nation will cry. Somehow we need to inspire people, and it's their country, it's their birds. Look after them. Need to get that message across. Otherwise we'll lose it. Then it's gone, isn't it? Really. One species I'm thinking about a lot is Bengal floricree. Tim and husband and I did first survey 1982 for that bird across the pond. It's been they've been surveys, many surveys by Nepalese since, and all they're doing is documenting the decline of the bird, and it disappeared from Bali in 2010. Gone. It hasn't been seen. There was one seen in 2010, two in 2009. that's the example of it. And that bird's gonna just kill you. So we need to, and the recommendations Tim and I made in 1982, nothing happens. So, that's an example of how a bird can really just stay all together. So they need inspiration. Yeah, they need inspiration, and how do you make people care? They got to really care.